A Myrk rider approaches by dire wolf with news of battles lost. It is not known yet that in the loss is the seed of your shared fate's victory. 22 on the clock. This message came through to open the road to this quest that we are initiating with this full moon in Gemini that will be coming in the small hours tonight on the 15th of December. And it's an energy that is going to journey with us through the time of the black moon, which is the second new moon that comes in Capricorn for the month of December. The first was the Sagittarius new moon that came in on the 1st. Some of you received it on the 30th, depending on where you were in the world at the time, but it was a new moon that was born within, let's say, a certain liminal space. And so we're still moving through this feeling of liminal space. Look at the symbol of Gemini, the glyph of Gemini in a new way. If you really look at it, it's sort of like an initiatory gateway. And I do feel there is a guardian at the gate that is greeting us here. And perhaps you are that guardian at the gate, of a gate that a particular energy is wanting to find entry to. But this energy, which only appears to be outside, is actually inside, reflecting back at you. This will become more clear, but this is the kind of energy that we're working with. We're very much in the ether air energy during this cycle. And it is sort of the energy that is prevailing as we're moving up to December 30th with that black moon that will initiate a new cycle in Capricorn. And I do want to drop in and just give some perspective on this portal that's opening now. And it is a portal. It is a liminal space. It is, you could say, a birthing canal of sorts. There's something that will come out of this. It could be seen as a magician's hat, and maybe we're the rabbit that is going to emerge on the other side. We are perhaps that hare that is on that hunt for some kind of transformation, but not really knowing what to name it. And we got that carriage wind hot on our tail chasing after us. It feels like it will be on our undoing, but it's actually the making of us. And this energy is very much in play. This is also a time where we are encountering our fears and the dualism of what is needed, the bravery to jump over them, slip around them, laugh at them. If we reach the highest state of evolution that is available to us, if we are able to make it to higher ground. This full moon is coming in at 23 degrees Gemini. And the Sabian symbol for that is fledglings in a nest, waiting to be ready to fly. And that's very much the energy that's sort of around the collective at this time. It's an energy of learning to fly, all right? Fly by night, flights of fancy. That makes me think Trip the Light Fantastic. These kind of energies coming in. There's been a lot of focus on rooting and practicalities. We had Pluto in Capricorn. If you were working with the energy the right way, that's what was coming through for you. Now it's more about getting up into those wings, getting up into the branches, getting some higher ground. There was a message that came through in the song Learning to Fly by Pink Floyd. And this message is also a bit of a guidebook, you could say, for navigating this territory we're about to move into and how to extract a little bit of magic out of it. So it provides some clues, and I'm going to go ahead and read the lyrics that came in to pay heed to. It says, above the planet, a wing and a prayer, my grubby halo, a vapor trail in the empty air. Across the clouds, I see my shadow out of the corner of my watering eye, a dream unthreatened by the morning light. Could blow this soul right through the roof of night. There's no sensation to compare with this suspended animation, a state of bliss. Can't keep my mind from the circling skies, tongue-tied and twisted, just an earthbound misfit I. And I thought that was such a perfect encapsulation of the energy, a bubble of energy, you could say, a bubble of energy held within, perhaps it's a crucible, a bubble of energy held within that song that is part of the greater song, the Oren More. There's a lot of this energy emerging at this time. And I just feel like there's such a need to play with this energy and open up to the potential of this space and what wants to come through. So we're going to move through this energy together, and we're just going to see where this stream, this frequency is going to take us collectively. This is a collective read. It's for all of us. It's a shared energy that is rippling out at this time. And so we're all experiencing the reverberatory effects of that ripple. And we're actually cutting ourselves off from the sense of needing to be contained or bound in any way to a certain old form. And a lot of the energy coming in here is about reinvention. It's about psychic integration, but it's also about what's possible, the magic that's extracted when we're able to come into that place of power. So there's something here about really tapping a creative potential that can only come about in a certain way that is not the usual way, your usual route of tapping into your creative energy and using your creative energy. There's a need to learn to fly. And all of us are getting an opportunity to get our wings. There's a need for elevation being kind of a key word here. I feel like this is the creative cycle that's coming in. And in fact, the numerological date, the charge, the energy signature of this particular full moon is 8. And 8 is about that coming into power. It's also about balance and power. And it again is, we turn it on its side, and it is that loop that has been coming in, that double spiral of creation, the unraveling. So there can be a coming together in a new form. And this is happening on all stratums of being. We do have some interesting aspects that are playing a role that we should pay attention to with the initiation of this new cycle as we begin to really grasp the matters that are the factors that were holding us back, the shadow aspects that needed to be transformed, what needed to be purified, what needed to be cleansed away. And we're now moving out of that energy. We are looking to overthrow the tyranny of the unconscious. That's sort of the energy as it's coming in. And in fact, that's a nemesis for us collectively as we are on this quest of learning to fly, learning to get to higher ground, We have to pay attention to how we flow with the energy. And there's certain keys that are coming in here that can help us with this, certain downloads I have around this. One of the things that we need to really be aware of is the power of our voice and what we do speak into existence, how it does have a ripple effect. And the voice is of great importance at this time. It's of great importance at this time. In fact, it's the airwaves that are currently ushering in the new current that will have a ripple effect in how the collective moves forward as a whole. And we're all experiencing the reverberation of these changes with Pluto in Aquarius. This energy is going to continue to build, and that current will pick up momentum, and soon it will build, and it will create waves, and it will create waves of change. But it begins with the voice, and it begins on the airwaves as well. It begins with the message that is meant to be shared. But there's no way that we can really get the message unless we receive the message, unless we're an excellent receiver that's very tuned in, so it can get the signal, so it can receive the message, so it can amplify it and it can transmit it, but also can be a magnifier. To be able to receive, we're working with these kind of polarities, these kinds of energies. And so there's a need for a certain sort of awareness around how the voice is used. And we may feel a lot of enthusiasm at this time. That may be something that is at the forefront for us. And that's because we have a very strong Uranus influence coming in with this full moon in Gemini. And we know about Uranus. Uranus brings the unpredictable. Uranus brings the unexpected. Uranus brings the unusual, the disruptive, the towers, the great awakener moments. Uranus brings waves of change, and that's front and center with this energy that's coming in on this full moon. And in fact, that's how we're going to experience most of these reverberations that create this ripple effect. It's all about the way you work with the lightning, though. It's all about the way you work with those points of initiation. That's what they are. They're initiation of a new frequency. That's what lightning is. You know, it's like the same process as synapses firing off in the brain. It's the same thing as you know, energy. Lightning is used as a symbol of energy. So it's an energy, and being an energy, it is yet to take form. We get to choose the form. We get to choose the crucible of that energy. What are we going to put that energy in? Are we going to put that energy in a Chinese finger trap because we feel that we should hold more energy than others, or our energy that we are generating should have more influence than others or hold more space than others? And there's another way that we can generate energy just in being entirely focused on our conversion. That's how it's coming in, our conversion of the energy. What do we want to amplify? What do we want to magnify? This energy coming in, okay? And so it's about personal responsibility. Accountability is still an important piece of how we're moving forward. Why? Because we got Pluto. Pluto is still there, so nothing has changed with this. And that Uranus influence, it has everything to do with Pluto in Aquarius. It's about bumping up against unconventionality to what feels more restrictive. Well, we've been in a place where we have felt really restricted, and we're now moving into a place where we're learning to fly, because the call for elevation is becoming too strong to ignore. The signal for elevation is becoming too strong to ignore. And so it's about heeding the call as well. You got to listen to be able to heed the call. The signal is about to be amplified. We needed a stronger signal. The signal is coming in and is amplifying with this full moon in Gemini. So there really is a need to listen deeply at this time. Consult your pineal gland. That is that is a key for opening many doors during this cycle. Okay, it can kind of get you out of the belly of the beast, out of the place of the fears. If you're being motivated by fear, if you're being motivated by psyops, if you're being motivated by what the programming is telling you to anticipate at this time, then you will feel the burn. It will be like being in the belly of the beast. You will allow them to incite within you anger and fear and division. And if you go into that territory, it will be your undoing. In fact, it will breed quite a bit of chaos in your life, and chaos of the destructive order. Now, it is still an order, even though it may seem quite Arisian. And it's in the order in that there needs to be devolution for there to be evolution. And it is the way it is. And to try to override that is to be a bit of a fool, but not in the most flattering sense. Everybody plays the fool at times, but we get to choose whether we're a fool that is not using that data bank of wisdom from past experiences, wisdom from paying attention to which way the wind blows, but also just not being mindful of what one is bringing into being with one's steps. This coming in, okay? So there's something about sharing our message where it's also to be wise with our words here. And in some cases, use our words sparingly. Much can be said with less. Be also aware of spontaneously blurting out unpopular opinions or what you define as truth. Remember, your truth is little t truth. No one has a market on big T truth. And in fact, most people don't even really know what that is. Do any of us really know what that is? Is that big T truth actually something within the domain of the or and more? And maybe we get to be crucibles, vegetables, perhaps, and vessels for it at one point or time. Yes, crucibles, perhaps. We can be vestiges of the truth. We can hold it within our crucible for a moment in time, a flicker in time, and yet nobody owns the truth. Nobody owns the truth. It's just what is, and it's all of everything simultaneously. There's something about not getting into arguments, debates about truth. That's not important. It's not relevant. And actually, truth doesn't need words. Truth is something that is just evident. It's evident. Truth is evident. It's evident in the actions. It's evident in the expression. It's evident in the way that one shows up in the world. So we're feeling like there is a need to defend maybe a former version of yourself, because I got big personality crisis energy coming in relation with this dualism, the Gemini energy that is ruling over this full moon. It makes me think of this particular lyric from the New York Dolls. It really holds the charge of kind of what we're trying to overthrow within ourselves as well. Past versions of ourselves that no longer fit, and yet we're still trying to hold those up, prop those up, and how that doesn't work, and how it's a very uncomfortable process when you're in that space, how you feel like an earthbound misfit. When what you really want to do is fly, but you feel like you're held back according to like some past incarnation of yourself, some old character you were playing out, some role that you adopted before, and now you realize it's like wearing a pair of shoes that's 2 sizes too small. And yet you think kind of to yourself, like, well, who am I to like try to step up into those shoes? Who am I to step up into bigger shoes? No, let me stay in these shoes, even though they're too small, even though they're really uncomfortable. I should just do that because, I don't want to, think that maybe I could be something more. And where does that come from? Maybe there is a call to be more. Maybe you do need to learn how to fly. Who taught you how to be so grounded? This piece coming in, but this lyric here, and you're a prima ballerina on a spring afternoon. Change on into the wolf man, howling at the moon. Got a personality crisis. You got it while it was hot. It's always hard to know when frustration and heartache what you got. And it makes me think of how that Sagittarius new moon initiated Jupiter square Saturn, 21:33 on the clock. This is a key. It's a way through. It's a helpful bit of information that can help you tap into the signal of the new download coming in with this energy of this full moon. That is going to bring about identity crisis. That's what that energy charge is all about. So many of you feel like maybe you're coming undone, or I don't know who I am, or what do I even want, or where do I belong, or a million different other musings that could come through for you at this time. But what's important is working with the energy instead of feeling like you're being held to the fire here. It doesn't need to be a damnation. It's supposed to be a jubilation. But most of you feel this. You're feeling the heat and you're feeling that energy of the hangman. It's the 12th house energy that's so heavy, right? We have to remember that Jupiter also rules over Pisces. So these are the old karmic cycles that are being meted out here. And it can feel quite intense for the collective at this time. It also may feel with the Pluto energy, in some cases, a bit like somebody else has the power. They hold the power and you're sort of just here, at its whim. But remember that message that came in. That message that came in to open this is that within the loss is the seed of the victory. Okay? So let it burn. Let it burn. That energy was coming through very strongly. And there's keys that you can use here, okay, collective? There's keys that you can use here to develop the character of the misfit. You see, this is the thing. It's sort of like you're pushing a part of yourself aside because you say, well, there's no room on this road for this part of me. And it's because of the people in your party that you've been journeying down this road with. And maybe the people in your party are starting to switch up. Or maybe there's changes in people in your party. And so you're trying to navigate that together, especially if you're going to continue to share this road with one another. And everything is kind of coming undone. And it all feels very uncertain, a little confusing. It looks like one of those ink blots, you're both looking at it and you both see something different out of it, but is it wrong? Is it wrong when you're in this place of sort of like dissolving into a collective soul soup here, and you're trying to figure out, okay, well, who am I becoming? See, that's the thing about that liminal space of the butterfly when it's in the goop stage. It actually gets to take on a new form. It's a stage of the chaos that is creativity. And so, yeah, it's undefinable at this point. So what do you want to make of it? What do you want to make of it? What role do you want to play? You're the main character, so what role do you want to play in your life? Who are you becoming? Go with the yes. Go with what excites you to go on the quest. And take that misfit out of the closet. That's what it's got. It's like there's parts of yourself that you are earthbound by. You don't get to have those flights of fancy. Why? Because the parts of you that you've cast aside, you call them a misfit, or you think others will say they make you a misfit. But it's like, who cares? It's the best part of you that's meant to come forward at this time. So act it out. Play out the misfit, and then you'll learn to fly. You won't be an earthbound misfit anymore when you take the risk to, challenge that a bit here. Yeah, look at that. Yeah. Rise above the deception here. And then you'll activate the elevation of the Sagittarius signature. That's what this is here. Great horned owl. There's a lot of strength here to overcome the trickster, to see through deception that's kept you earthbound. And yeah, maybe, you are a little bit of a misfit, but according to who? And who gets to determine where you fit? You get to decide, all right? There's something about that. You may be a piece of a puzzle and you don't know where you belong, but you'll find the appropriate window in the grid to look through there. There's something about you got to change your view, change your windows, look through a different lens here. There's something that's shifting, and it's more of a kaleidoscopic lens at this point. And it may seem fractured, and it may seem like it's fragmented. When it comes together by the 30th of December, it's a thing of beauty. You see, there's beauty in the broken. There's beauty in what devolves. There's evolution in what evolves. And this is protecting what wants to open up as this new chapter of creativity. A new story opens now. You're tearing out pages. You're tearing out pages that you want to revision. You're tearing out parts of the story and you're wanting to cast them away. But those parts of the story are the very thing that is the true victory. They're the crucible itself. I think of that energy that came in with the crucible on the Sagittarius read. And it was so much talking about that world tree energy being like a shield that holds the crucible itself, which is that energy of the Oran Moor that ripples out through all things, the song of the great mystery. And there's so much coming through about song and voice and airwaves and this energy right now. And I feel like a lot of this is coming through you. So I do feel like this energy signature that's coming in with this full moon, it's passageway, its flow, the way to work with it and ride it and have it carry you somewhere is to really work with the energy of the bard. And in order to be the bard, to experience that inspiration that comes through the Oblin being activated, the muse being activated within the vessel, the crucible of you, is to really be in this place where you allow yourself to be a misfit, because a lot of it is nonsensical. The inspired comes through the absurd. And it's what doesn't make sense, right? That seems very abstract or silly, that is actually where creativity is born. You can't birth creativity within borders. It doesn't work like that. And it doesn't work like that. And it was 29:44 on the clock, so 11:44. Yes, there's a passageway right there that brings us into that 8 energy of the charge of this moon. Yes, it helps you get through that guardian of this gateway, which I'm really picking up is the Gemini archetype. It's the Gemini archetype, and it's the way through. The way through what? The way through dualism, the way through polarization, the way through those energies that seem separate to the point where they meet in the middle, just like that double spiral. That is the way through, and it's the way through that brings in the new creative cycle. This is the energy we're activating now. So play with it. Play with it. And the way that you can play with it and work with it best is it's like it's good to be grounded, but there's something about the mean and heaviness of the Pluto and Capricorn cycle weighs you down too much, like an albatross. And the albatross, what weighs one down, what anchors one, it's something that you have the ability to shift because it's an imposition that one has put on themselves, okay? Yes, look, and that won't open any doors. So there's something here that needs to be shed. It's perhaps a key that you valued before because you felt it gave you some kind of security, and you held tightly to this key because it was a door of opportunity you went through, and it's a particular hallway you've been walking down for quite a while that has felt very safe. So you've stayed walking down this particular corridor, but now you're meant to open new doors. And you can't do that when you're weighed down. You can't do that when you're weighed down by an albatross. And so there's a point when we can get too rooted in. It's like find a home, nest within the branches, treetop energy coming in, mountaintop energy coming in, get a higher view. Yeah, get a higher view so you can see the way through. So you know what to let go with king shit here. You know what to let go, what you need to give the finger to. You need to give the finger to the fears. You need to give the finger to the BS that has kept you in a place where you feel like an earthbound misfit. And then you'll really fly. So let those fingers fly as well, you know. There's something here where you've been dealing with too much stubbornness, fixedness, intractability, rigidity. And we're looking at the knot, right? That symbolism has been coming in. I want to bring in that 12th house energy because this isn't just about the 9th house of Sagittarius. It's not just about flights of fancy, right? It is about the water that does nurture the earth of the black moon that will come in on the 30th of December in Capricorn season, okay? And that's very interesting, that connection point right there, because that black moon is going to be in Cancer. So we really got those roots being nourished at that time. Those roots of what began, what opened up with the Sagittarian new moon that came in, that opened up this entire cycle. So we're heading through, you know, a 4 gateway of initiation. It always comes back to this. We've been traveling through this on this channel for a while because we've been working with that sort of spiraling journey of the 4 jewels of the Tuatha De Danann, or the 4 treasures of the Tuatha De Danann. And these are never ending cycles. They never stop. There's never just one quest. They're sort of like bubbles floating through the cosmos. They are like bubbles of one greater bubble. And like I said, that came through on the Sagittarius download, the message that got relayed there that was coming on through is there's a bubble that's about to burst, but it's because we're getting beyond the borders. We're getting beyond the borders. We're getting beyond the places that have kept us hemmed in or have kept us too isolated, that have kept us too confined. And we're moving beyond being an earthbound misfit. It's more like an activation of the ether air energy. It's activation of the Skywalker energy. And even the sylphs are coming through as allies. The dakinis are coming through as allies to assist with learning to fly. This energy has been coming in very strongly here. So it's okay to be a little weird, man. It's okay to be moving out of step. Who says it's out of step? It may be perfectly in step with your own internal rhythm. And you very much are marching to the beat of your own drum here. So bang a gong, man. Get it on. That's the energy that's kind of coming through, right? But when dealing with knots, okay, places that feel stuck, there's something to consider here, because the Gordian knot imagery has been coming in for a while. This is like the initiation of the new energy coming in here, releasing sort of the old perspective or the old way of approaching a problem or a challenge in our lives, all right? So the Gordian knot imagery has been coming through quite a bit. And I think this story really sort of exemplifies what can be problematic during this cycle or what can work against you. And, you know, the whole challenge of the Gordian knot or initiatory process of the Gordian knot and the mastery of it to unravel it was to take the time, the care to figure out how to do that, right? How to untie what had been so fixed, because it was a matter of perhaps retracing some steps that can give us a certain kind of wisdom or perspective or a little kink in our psychology that can get us looking at things in a new sort of way. And that is a transformation point. It's not something that can really be bypassed. And there can be sort of this way that people want to use a little too much force because they feel very frustrated. They're tired of being hemmed in. And that's because we do have an irritation angle that is coming in with this full moon, with the action we got going on between the sun and the moon and Uranus. It can be a bit challenging. It can cause a little bit of that dualism. It can cause a little bit of tug of war or tag your it or this sort of back and forth kind of polarized energy. But there's a way that we can really overcome that and make it a whole lot easier. And it really is by us being willing to create the space that will support us in moving through this, right? It's about us really understanding that we want to overthrow the tyranny of the unconscious, but we don't do that by getting into debate with others to try to convince them that what we're trying to overthrow in the latent parts of us has anything to do with their own rebellion that they're enacting in their lives. So it's a collective energy. We all hold a piece of it, but the oppressor is not something that's actually outside of us. It's something that's within us. And so we can only overthrow oppression when we overcome what is restraining us within. And so there's a pointlessness. It's actually what continues to throw us into a further polarized state or has us continuing to lose the keys to the kingdom when we sort of put that on someone else, when we hoard our swords in preparation for battle, okay? Yes. That gives us no rest. It makes us susceptible to compromising alliances. It makes for bad bedfellows who are quite greedy. We then find that we align with the wrong party on our campaign, you could say. And we start to head toward a destination that isn't meant to be hoarded. It's actually a destination we're all supposed to get to, this place of elevation. That is the true hope that we are to enact here collectively when we're looking at Aries in the North Node. So with this angle of irritation we're working with here, we have to be aware of the threat of war, right? The threat of war. The threat of war within ourselves, the threat of war with others, the threat of war that is always hanging over our heads as propaganda to incite fear, to incite a sense of containment, limitation, restriction. And yet there doesn't have to be war. There is another way to get through. There is a way to get through that is not combative. And it's by listening. It's by listening so you can really tap into that sound that signals the birth of a new energy here, you see. That's what's going to open up the road for us. It really is about attuning to the singers of creation so that we can sort of bring in the sounding of that Aquarian age. It's like judgment. It's holding the judgment energy, the transformation of the Libra South Node energy, and that sort of call coming in from the ether to rise and shine, right? Because we see that with the judgment card. There's energy that was in a rut, in the dimensions of a rut, that energy that had gotten into a position where it's like living but not really being alive, and coming back to life, learning how to fly, rising up, getting out of the sort of borders of those walls. What happened when the horns were blasted at Jericho? The walls came down, and it's that same thing. It's got that same kind of energy. Walls are coming down. Walls are coming down. Break down the boxes. There's nothing to put in there. We're moving beyond limitations here. And so it's really about entering sort of an ecstatic sort of play space here. That's where you're really going to benefit. But there's certain allies that can help you facilitate this, you know? And the allies that can help you facilitate this moving into expansion, you know, we got old Father Time there, Galaxy Dad. Galaxy Dad is feeling pretty wounded, feeling like time's up, feeling like I didn't get the call. I feel like I'm left waiting for the call. When am I supposed to jump in here? Okay. Time is an illusion here. It's about entering that timeless space, that liminal space where there is no time. There is no sense of time. You can only enter that space when you're in the eternal now. And now is really the only time we got. The more that you can work with this energy and consult your pineal gland, meditation, big time coming in here, okay? Really working with meditation as a way to find the way through. There's a lot that can come in here that can help bring you into alignment by consulting your pineal gland instead of sort of like firing off at the mouth with provocation, instead of falling for the bait, taking the bait and finding yourself hooked up here, finding yourself being reeled in maybe by a force you feel that's greater than your own. And there's a recognizing that you don't need to take the bait. Okay, you don't need to take the bait. You can see what's dangling out there, okay? You can see it for what it is. Maybe this is one of the glimmering things that was talked about. Maybe there's going to be quite a few lures put out there with this energy as we're moving through this cycle, but you don't need to take the bait. Okay, you don't. You don't need to take the bait, collective. Take the bait, and then you're going to find yourself, you know, it's sort of like, it makes me think of an albatross in a way, you know, with taking the bait. You know, what's on the other end of that lure? Well, there's a hook, you know, and then you're not going to get anywhere. Then you're really going to be like a fish out of water, but you're going to be a fish out of water by somebody else's terms and not your own. So see, this is why you should embrace the role of the misfit. It works out much more in your favor. And you can sort of see where are those lures and what is going to get you hooked up best by really respecting the soul's voice. And the soul's voice is what activates the singers of creation. You have to first be able to hear your soul's voice. And you can only do that when you listen. And you can only do that when you create space for that. And when you don't move in such a way where you're reactive and you're impulsive and you feel pressured by time, but instead you make space to feather the nest, you know, get a different perspective from the treetops, from those mountaintops, feather the nest. You can see it will really work against us if we act in such a way where we don't follow the call of, yes, don't follow the call of the BS, of the confines of time, of the need to be so pressurized. Don't listen to what persistently tries to distract you from your soul's voice here. It's okay to let that go to voicemail. It's okay not to pick up that call. It's okay to create space so you can feather your nest. Feather your nest. You need this time because you're going to be getting training for flights of fancy. You may be flying by night. It is like also the introduction of that Myrk rider energy. Being able to be in the world and yet not of the world, and be balanced. Be able to ride it out, you know. You have to have a certain kind of balance as well that can only be received, achieved through recalibration. 47:47 on the clock, 11:11, that's what time it is. Crossing the energy of galaxy dad here. What we got, see? We need to give the finger to that. There's another 11 right there. Do you see? It's like really giving a finger to what has been a sense of limitation, flushing it out, man. Giving it a good flush, right? Removing what has been stubborn and fixed, giving it a flush, all right? The fix is being flushed. You know, it's necessary. It's necessary, especially in dealing with Papa Macho here. There's a need to take the BS by the horns, and that's flushing the belief system, opening the mind. Being more open-minded is what will allow you to work with your energy in the most impactful way at this time. Not have set expectations, not feel like you got all the answers. Pay attention to the lay of the land. It's about treetops and mountaintops at this time. Think of that feeling you get when you can see the treetops, when you're up that high, when you're up on the mountaintop. What do you feel? That's how you can tap into this energy signature. It's not about thinking about things in words. It's about thinking about things in symbols and thinking about things archetypally. So that's the way you can tap into the right flow. You're meant to nest at this time. You're meant to feather your nest. So make yourself a nest in a treetop or a mountaintop and sit in that energy in your own little bubble for a bit. And you'll find that you'll get quite a bit of clarity coming in as you rise above the confusion and the propaganda and all of the spin doctory that is whirling around us. And instead, you put yourself in the center of the devolution that is part of the evolution. That's how this energy is coming in. See, because this energy that demands to seize control is an albatross. It is weighed down. It thinks it has control and it's moving forward, but it is divided. They are 2 feet going in 2 separate directions, one toward the future, one toward the past. What's going to happen? That sort of truth is going to split that right down the middle. It's a bit of a tower moment. And those tower moments are going to be coming in. It was 50-30 on the clock with that. There's that 8 energy. There's gifts in that, though. Good. Good. This part of you was overcome. Excellent. Now there's a way through. Now the change can happen, you see. And wherever we're encountering this within ourselves, oh, well, it's somewhere, we're experiencing it with another, or what we call the other. So thank that person, because they're actually a guide for you. That particular ogre may be your guardian at the gate that opens the way to the activation of the singers that will help you hold your one resounding note of the Oran Moor that is the very note that you resound and call out, cry out, that does open the road, that does allow you to pull the sword from the stone. Yep, see? You got to get beyond the dividing point. I love how it comes in just in time for this full moon with how we started out with the bonus reads with Capricorn. And Capricorn had this energy come in. Remember, it's putting what is mean and heavy behind us. All the pressurized limitations of time, all the boxes with nothing to fill, all the rigidity that has held us up like the hanged man playing martyr. It's meant to be put behind us at this time. And it's only when the 2 sides of ourselves learn to transcend time, to become the Myrk writer, that we become the writer who discovers with another, with the other, oh, I get it. It was battle that was meant to be lost because it brings our victory. All right, so this is putting the fear behind, putting the limitations behind this energy coming in here. I love it. Do you see? Do you see? It's like behind we have this very like robotic, mechanical, programmed, predictable, slow, calculated, dull, lifeless AI, artificial intelligence programming we've downloaded about what it means to progress and what that looks like individually, collectively as well. It's speaking to all of you, right? And we're sort of looking at the slice of pie that we've gotten as a result of that, right? And it's not all it's cracked up to be. And our share of the pie there, it feels rather piddly, you could say. But the thing about our share of the pie is it's all of our pie. To think you get a share of the pie is sort of where there's a glitch. There's a glitch, an opportunity to reinvent things here. It's a little improvisation. You need to, move in that sound signature of jazz here, okay? You got to get progressive with the energy to find a way forward. The sounding of that trumpet may be a bit more Miles Davis here, that saxophone here may be a bit more John Coltrane, I have to say, than it is a sort of, listening to what's been programmed, what's predictable, what feels like so one note at this point. No, we can play all the notes, right? And it's interesting with jazz too is it's like notes that seem like, oh, well, that's not harmonious. That doesn't really go together. That's so chaotic. Oh no, it's so progressive. It's a new sound, and it's a new sound that's timeless at the same time. It's a new sound that is always evolving, you know. Jazz can't be put in a box, you know. And it's this kind of energy. It's almost like it's making me think of the difference between like auto tune and like a jazz singer, right? An improvisational jazz singer. Maybe this is the particular singer we're aligning with here. We're creating a new singer. You see, we do get to do that. We're not limited to any kind of singers. So expect a little jazz coming in here, a little improvisation, using all the notes, using the notes that don't necessarily sound harmonious, and yet they come together in just such a perfect note, one resounding note that is the thing that is just what you need to open up your road. But your road is just one road. It's one road of many that we're all traveling together. And there's something that is understood here with this full moon. It's a new collective consciousness that's awakening, but it's something that's easier to be grasped and worked with in an empowering way if you do kind of role play it. So role play your misfit and approach life like theater. And then you'll watch the characters on the stage of your life go through transformations too. This is about expressing parts of yourself that don't fit the programming. 56:44 on the clock. Okay. This energy coming in. So I'm kind of curious here. What's at stake for us? What's at stake for the collective as we work with this energy that's coming in with this full moon in Gemini, this energy that we'll be moving through? Oh, look at that. Well, looks like the doorways of perception are just flinging open there. Look at that. And from there, we're elevating. We're getting a higher view. We're stepping up, okay? We're stepping up. Oh, yes, we're riding that wave of change. We're choosing to evolve. We're choosing evolution here. I see that. Look at that. We do have that. It's interesting because it's snake energy coming in, but, you know, with the water there, it's also that eel energy. It's working with that sort of unpredictable energy of Uranus to ride the wave of change, you know. We can ride it out creatively. We just got to pay attention to what's rippling out there and what we're rippling out from us, you know, on our own little board that we're surfing there. It's like we're all on that great, you know, we're all on that great source, right? Look at it as water, as the water elemental. I mean, you know, you have air above, you got water below, right? And water is also within us, but so is air. Okay, so it's these conduits are really coming in strongly right now. Plus, you got to, you know, we got to water the roots in order for them to be really strong if we're going to draw down this loftier vision that's coming in collectively here. So there's this piece about this, you know, H2O, you know, that quality of that ether, that air is already within the water, right? It's already there. And so it's working with this energy, being conduits of this energy and writing it out. We're all writing it together. We're all riding this energy. It's a ripple effect, but you kind of get to, you know, hold your peace how you're writing it out. It contributes to the ripple effect, right? So if you're popping off, you know, you're going to create a lot of like sort of like wipeout energy, right? And then everybody's wiping out, you know. If you're not like in a place where you can really ride that wave, how do you ride a wave? Well, it is about balance, right? It's about balance. It's about respecting the ebbs and flows. It's about grokking the water, understanding the water too, understanding that flow, understanding that water is not fixed, right? It's mutable. And this is a mutable energy. So we have to work with the mutable energy. Mutable energy front and center right now. There's lots of mutability there. Also with a little bit of, a little bit of the cardinal energy thrown in for good measure. Okay. So it's about tempering, tempering. You gotta take the best parts of what was fixed and work with it, as the material to sort of provide the ground, the rooting of this mutable energy and its potential of what it can become, right? So this is like hanging loose, you see? Hanging loose. Hanging loose. Now we're getting back around. It's almost like it makes me think of the Joker of Knots in this deck, the infinite, tarot. Yes, Joker of Water, I believe it is. That's how it's coming in. Let me show you this here. Just came into my mind because I feel like this is really holding what I'm trying to express. Yeah. I love it. I love it. Okay, so, of course I was meant to bring this in. Do you see here? This is a new perspective. It was upside down, okay? So this is a new perspective we need to get because we've been focusing on this sort of like energy of being held down in the earth, the Pluto and Capricorn energy. We've found it hard to shake off, even though it's moved into the air. It's moved into Aquarius here, right? So we need to shift the orientation of our perspective, which is why we need to bring it on up to the branches. Get a loftier perspective, see, because there's a certain thread of fate that's been doled out here, and it involves all of us. It's this point of creation that wants to be activated here, and there's something here about look at the spiral on the top there. Yes, see, it's the thread of what has come unraveled from the knot, okay? And it's meant to be brought in. You're holding your piece of it. We're all creating it together. We are all creating it together. You feel like you're separate from it, but you're not. We're working with Aquarian energy here. But you certainly will see the transformation in your own personal life. We are meant to sort of like work with this energy together and draw it in, bring it in together. We've had the devolution cycle, right? And then there's the evolution cycle that we're meant to bring in here. So here we have what was undone. And this is where we really went down a rabbit tunnel with this. So this energy is like this. Be prepared for a bit of this kind of journeying energy. This is why you need space, just sit. Just sit and listen, because the places you'll go, the things you'll see, there's like adventures to be had within your own little bubble here that you create for yourself when you're nesting, when you're feathering your nest and you're just sort of getting cozy and creating space to tune in to your inner voice, your soul's voice. And then what will come through you, what you'll create through that is incredible. And this is why there's the issue with the Gordian knot, okay? Oh, I love it. Oh, because the knot imagery has been coming in for a while now, let me tell you. And it makes me think of this Joker of Water, all right? The Joker of Water, it's like the Pisces energy. And actually the knot was first introduced on a Pisces download. I will pin that download in the comments so you can check it out because it's coming in now. It's looping back around now. That came in with the Pisces full moon. That was the harvest moon. It was actually the mirror moon for the hunter's moon that came in on the 17th. The 17th, I believe, of October. Okay, so this is a continuation of that energy that has been sort of unwound. All right. I have to show it as it is, though, so you can really see. I brought in the story of the Gordian knot, okay? It's something that's introduced itself since that Pisces download that came in. And the Gordian knot, it's all about, not bypassing the experience of figuring out how to untie the knot. You see, tricksters are actually initiators, okay? They come on our path because we have to gain sort of access to the empowerment through resolving a particular riddle or seeing beyond a certain deception or being able to get ourselves out of a quagmire, right? That's what's needed. It's like the spark. It's like the lightning. It's what fires off the synapses, and it's what activates the creative brain space, the creative play space, and brings in the start of the new cycle. And it is a joker of water, you see. And there's that same rainbow energy coming through. And did I go and I hide it? I went and I hid it again. Let me let me go and get it out, because I shouldn't have done that, you see. I shouldn't have done that. But see, the trickster will hide these things from us, hide these keys from us. The thing is, though, there are keys we already have. And so there's a lot of this that's being retrieved right now. It's coming out of its hiding places. Some of it is coming out of hiding space from where it was tucked away as a child, okay? And it's being retrieved right now. So it may seem absurd, nonsensical, playful. It's got that energy, kind of a meandering energy, but it's a beautiful energy to work with, because it is very much about recognizing that the path is all about the journey, not the acquisition of power. And in fact, in chasing the acquisition of power, we lose the power. Mm-hmm. We lose the power. Do you see? Alexander the Great cheated. Mm-hmm. Alexander the Great cut through the Gordian knot and thereby felt like, okay, well, I solved that problem, so now I've acquired this power. But see, that's not true power. That's fool's gold. There's something about understanding what it really means to unwind this particular energetic pathway. And so this is what we've been working with. This energy here got initiated with the Sagittarius new moon that came in. And there's a certain unwinding that's happened. We're at this point where we're about to have the breakthrough in the consciousness. So you can see it as like that lightning coming in. And it's the lightning of inspiration. It comes from the ether. It's an electrifying moment. It awakens the consciousness and it makes a way through us, and it roots in the ground of our being. And it's an activation point of bringing that sort of lofty vision down to earth, right? It's just at its beginning stages here. This new dream that's being woven into being. But the stuff of the knot is the stuff of the weaving of the new cycle, you see? So there's no way to cut through this, because these fates, that's how it came in, right? That are knotted together, they are meant to be the destiny of the victory. So to cut it is actually to cut oneself off completely. And some of you may have done that, I have to say. Now that's a longer way to go about resolving an issue, see, because you are accountable for your actions. That energy is still at play. That's why you don't want to be too impulsive. Don't get frustrated. You have to work with self-mastery to be able to sort of trace an energetic pathway to unravel a particular knot that's held something in place, you in place, a certain belief in place, a certain restriction in place. Then you have something to work with. Then you'll find the flow much easier. You'll be able to hang loose, okay? But if you get frustrated and you pull out that sword, much like Alexander the Great, just wanting to sort of cut to the chase, not valuing the lesson of the knot, you lose the keys to the kingdom. It doesn't mean you can't retrieve them again. It's all of our kingdom. It belongs to the collective. You can retrieve it again, but it's going to be more challenging, you see, because then you got to retrace those ends of fate that were snipped, that were not meant to be snipped, and you got to figure out, how do I bring them together again? And that's a different kind of challenge. Well, how do you have to bring them together again? Oh, with a knot? Is there another way to do it without a knot? Perhaps that is a challenge that's being posed to the collective here. How to mend the division. How to mend the division. How to bring the two ends of the threads of fate that were cut in haste without tying them into a knot. Okay, riddle me this. Interesting. It's what brings the blessing and the bounty of the earth. Look at that. See, but the yellow brick road, it's not on earth. It's coming down from the ether. It's a bit of somewhere over the rainbow, I have to say. It is evoking that energy. We'll see. There was a challenge that was also posed to Dorothy and her companions, right? And it was 1:11:11 on the clock when I brought this in, right? Well, somewhere over the rainbow, there was a yellow brick road, but they had to solve some conundrums to get where they wanted to go, didn't they? And it's that same kind of collective energy that's being enacted here. Interesting. Interesting the way that's coming through. I like how that's coming through. I like how that's coming through. So this is what's really at stake for us. I feel like I want to get 3 gateways of initiation to sort of symbolize our lead up to the waterway. I feel like that's what it is. It's like a lead up to the waterway when we're faced with this joker of water, a guardian to that initiatory gate of the waterway that is the full moon in Cancer. It's known as the wolf moon. Interestingly enough, wolf is Pisces on the medicine wheel. So I feel like this is a way through at that time that's presented in Cancer. And perhaps it is tying up a certain cycle that was initiated with that full moon in Pisces that came in on September 17th. I can see that. Okay. I can see that. So there's some initiatory gateway coming in there. And I really do want to look at that because the wolf moon, that is the Pathfinder moon. And I feel like that is speaking to the resolution of the personality crisis that came in with the New York Dolls. Remember, he says, and you're a prima ballerina on a spring afternoon, change on into the wolf man howling at the moon. And I feel like that's when the path opens. But you got to be careful right now that you don't cut this knot. See, you're already on the path. It just appears that it's a knot. The reason why it's a knot is because you haven't been listening. You haven't been listening. You haven't been listening. Once you listen, the knot will come undone, and then you'll have something to work with to weave in the new cycle here. There's so much coming in right now. Even as I sit here, I know this is an energy that's just like going to continue to build. So there's like a meditation point coming in here, something to hold as you move through this cycle leading up to that wolf moon, that black moon, the second new moon of December that is being hosted by Cancer. in Capricorn season, okay? And that is to meditate, consult the pineal gland on why it's wise to unravel and not cut the knot that has been woven by the Norns as the thread of fate. It's like you see it as a restriction, but it's actually the way through. It is. It's the way through. Okay, let's check it out here. I'm going to go ahead and get us 3 gateways of initiation. And I kind of feel compelled to work with both the Arcane BS deck for this and also the Infinite Tarot. So I'm going to bring them both in for this. So 3 gateways of initiation. The first gateway is this full moon in Gemini. The next gateway of initiation, the full moon is going to be on January 25th in Cancer. That's the wolf moon. We have on the 30th, the black moon in Capricorn. That's why I kept making that connecting point with Capricorn and Cancer there, okay? Okay, so let's get this orientation aligned here. See, this is why you don't want to be impulsive. You need to take a moment for that recalibration, collective. All right, so the first gateway of initiation is going to be the full moon in Gemini that is coming in the small hours this evening. Will be coming in on the 15th of December. The second gateway of initiation will be the black moon. It is the second new moon of the month of December that was kicked off with the new moon in Sagittarius. That black moon in Capricorn will be coming in on the 30th of December. Okay, 15, 15, 6, 6, 6, 6, 12. That 12th house energy coming in again breaks down to 3. What? Gemini, communication. Okay. And then that third gateway of initiation will be ushered in with the full moon in Cancer that will come in on January of 2025. That full moon comes in. Did I not write down the date for that? Did I write down the date for that anywhere? I didn't. Why did I not write down the date for that? I don't know why I didn't write down the date. It's the full moon that comes in January 2025. It's in Cancer, okay? That will be something that will finally bring growth to what is initiated with the black moon in Capricorn, okay? It'll open up the path that sort of initiates with that black moon there, right? There's a real progression of energy there. What comes in basically with that full moon is the waterway, all right? So currently we're riding the airwaves, but we'll be riding the water waves by the time we reach that Cancer full moon in January 2025, okay? This is for the collective as a whole. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to call out all signs here. So we'll start with Sagittarius since you kicked off this energy and it is your solar return season. So Sagittarius, Scorpio. No. What are you doing, Scorpio? Not so fast. Get back there, Scorpio. Well, some of you may be Ophiuchuses, okay? Maybe Ophiuchus is really leading this charge. Okay, well, respect it came through like that. Maybe there's a reason it came through like that. Sagittarius, Scorpio, Capricorn, Aquarius, Pisces, Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Leo, Virgo, and Libra. Oh, Libra, because the transformation of the South Node energy. Okay. Haha. Bring on the gravy train. We got the gravy funnel here, okay? So yeah, we're right about at that point, I have to say. We're right about at the point where Caradwin is about to imbibe the essence of Gwen there and begins the transformation, the transmutation process of Gwen into Taliesin, the great bard, right? So the lore is steeping right now, I have to say. It's just about to fill our crucible there, or our chalice, you could say. The singer chalice wants to be activated here from the ether, this coming in, all right? So let's check this out. We're going to go ahead and let me clear this here. I'm going to just do 3 cuts of 3, really mix this up good. And then we'll go ahead and get our gateways of initiation for each of those cycles. I don't know about you, but I mean, I already have so much air. I already have so much air in my chart that with this energy coming in, I've just been like, wee! I'm definitely playing in the ether for sure, and enjoying it. Actually, I like going way out into the Vata energy. I have a lot of fun with it, actually. Okay, so we're going to do 3 cuts here, right? So this one here, this last pile here, this is for the final initiatory gateway that opens up the waterway on sometime, some point, some liminal space, somewhere in January 2025 with the Cancer Wolf Moon. Okay, that full moon there. And then this center one, this way through, you could say, between the dualism of the Gemini full moon energy that's being kicked off here, Black Moon in Capricorn that will be coming in on December 30th. And then this one is the current one we're moving through. And I think I'll just I'm going to do it a little bit different with these. I'll do clarification with the Infinite Tarot on each of these to see what comes in. Okay, so for tonight's full moon coming in here, basis of the matter. Oh yes, horse death here. So the old way has to come to an end. Also, there's something here about like that energy of like whipping a dead horse. There's no way to move forward with something that has been nurtured for far too long. You don't have enough spoons. You need to use that spoon instead to stir the pot, right? To stir the cauldron. It's time for a new creative cycle to come through here. It's time to release loyalty to a dying vision so a new vision can be born. Not sure what that vision is, but you have to create space where you can listen, and you'll be able to hear your soul's voice and how it wants to be expressed, how it wants to speak your new creation into existence, the creation of your path forward, okay? And what do we got here? Yes, okay, so definitely. We got a woman breastfeeding a VCR. So there's something here that is really outdated, that is about to go through a transformation point. This is just the initiation of this energy. It can be a little uncomfortable as we're moving forward through this terrain because people are going to have different perspectives. You know what I'm saying? Some people are going to want to hold on, and they're not going to want to have more open-mindedness, or they're not going to want to shift their perspective, or they have a different idea about moving forward. And so these are the typical challenges that we can deal with an irritation angle. And we got that front and center. So we already know we're going to be dealing with that. So do expect that to be more maybe at the forefront, you know, sort of tuning into that right now, areas where you felt frustrated, or where you're recognizing something doesn't work, or where you're getting tired of nurturing something that you don't really feel is like stirring your senses. This is sort of what's coming to a head here. Let's see what wants to come through elementally in relation to that. They can support us in this process, or give us a key that can help us through this initiatory gateway here as we're trying to leave behind the dull, the humdrum, the outdated, the antiquated, and move more into this expansive energy the potential of the Sagittarian energy, open up the road that leads to the waterway. How can we sort of encourage the building of that energy, even as we are nesting here, resting, feathering the nest for future voyages, you could say, when we do learn how to fly and we get the opportunity to open up that pathway that leads to the North Node. Let's see, what wants to come in elementally for us here? What wants to come in elementally for the collective? Okay, crossing energy, this is a key. Isn't that funny? Look at it. The bird takes flight. So we have to learn how to fly. We have to learn how to fly, right? And that's the thing. It's like you just got your wings. You just got your wings. I don't care if you feel like you've already earned your wings or you've had your wings. You're getting new wings. There's something that you're transcending here. You're getting a different perspective. You have a bird's eye view. You have a certain elevation that wants to be expressed here. But you're like a fledgling right now. Remember the Sabian symbol that came in? You're like a fledgling right now with this. And so there is a need to nest, and know that the nest is being feathered here, and you need to really get in touch with your soul's voice so you will understand when you receive the call to rise, when it is time for you to take flight, right? So this makes me think of connecting with the different vestiges that sort of hold the energy signature of the dream seeding potential that's coming in here now. These are like storehouses of the Oran Moor, so you'll be able to recognize the time for the singers to come in to be expressed through your voice, okay? This energy is able to be sort of held within a crucible, you could say. So these are certain synchronistic signposts that could come in for you during this cycle, and ways that you can connect with this energy, even if just in your mind's eye through meditation, like meditating on these symbols and just seeing what they unravel within you, unravel what knots within you in this respect. So this is when you're going to be working with a little bit more of that sylph kind of energy. So certainly cloud gazing, okay? Stargazing as a form of meditation. Getting lost in a sea of stars, getting lost in the clouds. Let your head be in the clouds. Just allow the sylphs to communicate to you in what they reveal on that scrying surface, you could say, okay? It's a different way of scrying. Coming in through the Dakini energy, coming in through that Skywalker energy, sort of the mirror of fairy, that is able to root those lofty visions on earth. The electrification point, you know, the charge that comes down in the form of lightning through you, that activates the manifestation of fantasy into reality. It comes through that sylph energy, the Dakini energy. Those are like spirit allies as we're moving through this cycle here. And they can be housed, you know, that signature energy can be housed, and you'll find it housed in things like pine cones, which is very much like the shape of the pineal gland. Okay, so you can even meditate on your pineal gland, you know, when you're traveling flights of fancy in the mind through meditation. You can focus on the pineal gland as like this glowing pine cone, you could say, right? That's a certain crucible, a storehouse of this energy and how to activate it within you. But also pine cones, finding pine cones and viewing them as what they are. They're the seed of future forests. So see, it's looking at these things and understanding the deeper meaning that and the charge that they hold, that something that you can hold in your hands is able to take form much greater than what you alone can hold. Okay, this is sort of what's coming through here. Feathers, especially falcon feathers, which are related to Aries on the medicine wheel. You know, working with that osprey, falcon, hawk kind of energy, which is all about boundaries and ways that boundaries can be both opportunities for expansion in that they hold space for devolution, and how they can also be limitations when it comes to a certain sense of evolution. And yet both aspects can be true and of equal value simultaneously. Working with this kind of perspective to open the mind. Yes, this is something that really can help us understand the lay of the land in a new way with that energy we're working with Sun Keen 6 Uranus. It allows us to take advantage of the towers and use them as sources of awakening of the great mystery. The unexpected, surprise, these words, understand, how do you respond energetically? Even in this moment, when I say unexpected, how does that word land as an energy signature in your body? What does it evoke within you? When I say surprises, what does that evoke within you? There's a need to change your associations with both words. That is also a key that will unlock many doors of opportunity that lead to elevation for you in overcoming what is felt intractable or stuck. That's how that's coming through. Okay, so that's coming in for this full moon. Now, the second initiatory gateway we have here is for that black moon in Capricorn, the new moon that lands there on December 30th, with the culmination of this particular energy of this lunar cycle. All right. Okay, we still have, time up here. The bell's being rung on this Aunt Brenda character here. Like, this bird is not able to take flight, right? It's still learning to fly, but it's trying to have control too much. Trying to have control of another will be an albatross for us. Trying to control a fixed situation will only strengthen the knot and hold us in place. But I do feel like it's time for transformation in what's being nurtured here. So something will be presented at this time where it's like a bell ringing. Oh, perhaps that's when you're actually getting your wings. Okay, so maybe there's the opportunity to take flight, to first venture out of the nest at that time. Let's see what comes in as the energy here. Oh yes, that's when Capricorn is up to bat for sure with that new moon. I love that the baseball goat came in. Okay, you get your chance to be up to bat. So there's some kind of power that's put in your hand. You do have an ability to take an action here. There will be a ball thrown your way. How are you going to do with that? Do you have the focus required to knock it out of the park? Okay. So how can you knock it out of the park? How can it be a direct hit? Okay, that can go far. Let's see. That can take you all the way home if you play your cards right. Let's get an energy here coming in from the Infinite Tarot to support this. A key that opens up that pathway there, that door of opportunity to go all the way home. Okay, you could hit it out of the park. You really could. You might be able to find a way through. It depends, are you going to use that bat to try to, beat something into submission there, okay? Ooh, yeah, that could hold you back. Nope. I think this looks really good. So what is the gateway that needs to be passed through? I love this here. Look, we got one, sky, tree energy, okay? So this is when you do, you hit it out of the park, okay? This is going up into the branches. So this is the activation of the expansion here, okay? There's an understanding of the lay of the land. Something has been rooted, and now we're ready. We're ready to take what we've gained from our time of nesting and getting that higher view, that loftier view, taking in from the branches. And we're ready to get this rooted immaterial reality. So some initiation happening here of energy. It's Ace of Wands energy here being activated with that new moon, black moon in Capricorn on December 30th. All right, I like this, okay? So maybe this is the time, right? This is the time when the bird actually leaves the tree. Maybe it's the first attempt at flight coming in here. Okay, I see it. I see it. The first attempt at flight will be then. So it's a little bit of like, hold your horses right now. Don't be so determined to press ahead. Make sure you're taking the time to bide the time so you'll have the protection of the focus that's needed to knock this out of the park. All right, and let's check out how it does land by the time we reach that culmination point of that waterway, that full moon, sometime in January 2025. It's not really important right now. What's important is that we keep our eyes on the ball, the eyes being on the ball of that big glowing orb, that lunar essence, that moon, and how it will play out leading up to that black moon in Capricorn, which is the culmination of this cycle. But let's see where we kind of land when we reach that full moon in January 2025 in Cancer, the wolf moon, where the path opens. Oh, we got quite an initiation there with big, sexy Satan coming in, okay? Yeah, well, there's the evolution, right, of that Capricorn energy, I have to say. I think Capricorn's really feeling themselves at that point. It's got that devil energy, right? That's like, okay, I've taken something within my grasp. I've restrained those unconscious forces through making them conscious. You see, that's when you break the chains of limitation. You take what's unconscious, you make it conscious, and then you're free of the tyranny of that which refuses to be conscious. You break the limitations and overthrow. You have a rebellion against the tyranny of the unconscious. Now, it may present itself to you as an outside character, but do understand it's still your story. So there's an antagonist here that is like needing to be overthrown at that time that actually opens up the waterway. I think you're feeling rather confident. There's a certain fire you've reclaimed here. I think you did, get up to bat, so to speak, with that black moon on December 30th. And you're like, yeah, bring it on. Bring it on. Can't you see? I'm a trailblazer. Everywhere I go, I blaze a trail. It's got that energy. Okay, I like it. Ooh, okay. Well, this is when you're coming up against the Frodis, okay? And so it's like that collective virus, the ever watchful collective virus that has Earth itself in a chokehold here. Well, only we collectively can cast this off, I have to say. Only we collectively can cast this off. So this is quite a bit to open up the waterway there, I have to say, all right? It is a standoff at the OK Corral kind of energy. Woo, all right. Well, we know that by that point, you're going to be like the Myrk rider riding in on your dire wolf. I mean, is the rider approaching you or are you the rider? I mean, aren't they one and the same? Oh, Joker of fire. Yeah. Joker of fire. Oh, the trickster returns again. It's the alchemical point, though, right? With the waterway, we need that. That's that temperance energy. There's a Fiacus coming out going, all right, now we're cooking. Now we're cooking. Now we're getting into that weird-ass mystical shit that I live for, that opens up the road to that stone of destiny, okay? This is about sort of being like in that position where you're like, I'm the captain now. I'm ready to steer this ship all the way home. I know exactly where I'm going. I got perspective above the clouds when I was at that mountaintop. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. And here comes the bloom. So there's something here, too, where it's like, everything's fine. It really is. Because what's being dismantled here is everything that's false, everything that's like the seeds of a dying age that have since been sown, and now it's the opportunity for the great awakening from below. Like, you can choose to be invested in war, or you can be a part of awakening. You know, you look at this, right? It looks very destructive. Well, that's one way of looking at it. But if you look at it closer, doesn't it also kind of look like the world tree? Doesn't it kind of look like a great grand oak? What are you going to choose? You see, everything's fine. Everything's fine. Where did I put it? I nestled it. I nestled it within the roots of that oak. Yes, you see. Yes, you see, it's all within the tree. I have to say, it's coming in again. It is coming in again. That acorn. That acorn. That's when you become the muse. That's when the waterway opens. That's how the waterway opens. That's when the path opens. You master the knot. You master the knot. You master the knot. I just got it. You master the knot. My goodness. I couldn't see it before, but now I see. You see the acorn. The acorn is also a vestige that comes in at this time that can give you so much knowledge. You know, trees are record keepers, so we have to remember it's the records of all time when we're looking at that world tree. Look at this. That knot. Let's go back to that knot, right? That knot. Is it a knot? The Joker of fire here says X marks the spot where the two come together. You could kind of see the knot as being the center point of that energy, that double spiral, right? It's almost like in the unraveling, right? In the unraveling of the old cycle, that's how this energetic pathway, this knot, is loosened so it can be used to start to call in the new creative cycle, and you're the one who's fixing it in the center. This is what brings the waterway, the birth of the growth with the sprout here. Oh, that is really cool. And what does it lead to? Oh my gosh, the 3 gateways, it leads you home. That's beautiful. Look at that. Oh, I love this message so much. I love this message so much. There's no place like home. You've had the power all along. You are the knot. Once you come undone, you'll recognize that there's no need to be fixed in order to hold these cycles of creation together in such a way where you master the knot. You master the knot. It's not fixed, it's mutable. It comes undone, it comes together. It unwinds, it moves widdershins, and then it moves diasil. And that is the manifestation point. Look at that. That is the manifestation point. The view above the mountaintop. It's the sun energy being brought in. Isn't that cool? Okay. I could go forever with this, but I think I'm going to go ahead and get us some numbers. And I'm going to get us some letters. And I think I'm going to call this good. I didn't really feel like limiting this energy tonight with doing an all signs read. I wanted to do a deep dive into this energy because I feel the creative energy coming in. And I hope that you've been creating spaces to let it come in. And if you feel like, gosh, I haven't been tapping into creative energy at all, I've been feeling super frustrated, I recommend just in whatever way you can, recognize how you can free a little time up from maybe some things that have been red herrings for you, some things that have been disrupting your stream of consciousness and keeping it in a fixed place. Maybe just create a little space for daydreaming or to take naps or, to play or just, lounge a bit, nest a bit, all right? I think that you'll find that you attune to that frequency and things will start to funnel in for you a lot sooner than you expect. This energy is like ripe for the picking. It really is. It's like it wants to be expressed so much, but you can't pick up the signal if you're not listening, because the signal, it's coming from you. You're receiving the signal. It's been trying to get through. I've had this message coming in for a few days now. Like some of you may be experiencing like ringing in the ears or that sort of like white noise sound, or you may even be picking up like a singular note sort of going through like your consciousness, and it's just like holding this tone for you. I got C note. Okay, so this coming in is sort of like an energy to explore, an energy that has something for you perhaps to an energy perhaps for you to see. Okay, there's something coming in with that particular note. A key. It's a key. It's a key for it's a key perhaps in relation to the energy body related to a chakra. Okay, so check that out. Do a little research with that. Interesting. But if you've been picking this up, like just hearing like a steady, some would call it ringing, okay, tinnitus, you could call it, but it's not really that. It's that you're picking up a frequency, but maybe it's coming through as an irritation, right? Because you're not listening to it with your soul's voice. It's like something that you're noticing when you're otherwise distracted. That's why it's irritating you, because it's trying to get you to pay attention. Okay, so when you start hearing that, that's a signal to get quiet, because there's something that's being transmitted at that time that wants to come through the soul's voice. And you can only hear it if you're internalized, if you're sort of like nesting and in that space where you're just listening, right? You'll be surprised what comes through. You may want to work with a little automatic writing in relation to that too. Just, maybe have, a notebook in front of you, some paper, and and just allow yourself to doodle or just write nonsense and just see what comes through. You'll be surprised, okay? Let me get some numbers coming in here. See what messages we have for the collective. Yep, there we are. We're Skywalkers. Okay, so there is moving forward, but right now we're moving, you know, in a very different way. We are in a bit of like that hangman energy. We're getting a different perspective. We're getting a perspective above at what has been going on below, or what's been unconscious, that's been keeping us at a certain ceiling where we haven't been able to elevate into higher states of consciousness, higher states of being. And that's what we're cracking the code of here. So we can come into alignment with this 2 energy, okay? And also we got 6 here coming in, 2 and 6, it's 8. It's that infinity loop. It's that energetic pathway of the double spiral, okay? So we're really thick in this energy. I love this because I just have it on. And you turn the side of that, what do we got? We got lucky number 7 coming in there. So the 3 energy of Gemini getting rooted with the 4 energy there. The 4 energy of Cancer. Okay, so it really is like the foundation of what will open up for us with that full moon that comes in Cancer in January 2025. And here with the Skywalker energy, see, it's that Gemini energy, and it's a new mode of communication. It speaks very symbolically. It speaks through inspiration. It speaks through fantasy. It's like castles in the sky that are meant to become the kingdom. And we have all the keys inside to open up the road that leads there, really. And I love this, the way the partnering energy comes in here, you see. It's that dualistic energy, but getting on the same page is what brings about the celebration of the 4 of Wands. It brings the gateway of initiation that culminates. Let's see what we got here. We got 6 and 4 and 10. Okay, so 10, the new beginning. Again, the devolution to the evolution there. 10s are endings and 10s are new beginnings that bring gifts. Okay. So we do have certain months coming through here that could be significant. We have February coming in, so that's Aquarian energy. It's Piscean energy. We have March, further exemplifying that Piscean energy, also ushering in the Aries energy. We have April, okay? So February, March, April, of the opening of 2025 will probably be quite significant. I have to say that's when there will be progression of that full moon that comes in, that's being nurtured right now. The foundation of it is being nurtured right now by that full moon in Cancer in January 2025, okay? So I feel like that opens the road. But we really find a way through that continues to sort of bring our vision forward at that time. Maybe the vision really comes to a place of culmination in June. Okay. So that is Gemini energy, Cancerian energy. Yeah, that's a certain point of fruition that comes in there as well. And then maybe there is this, like, the harvest to come, comes in the 10th month, October. Perhaps something that came undone in October with that harvest moon, that initial refocusing point, right? It comes to its culmination point the following October 2025, all right? It's a continuation of whatever comes to a culmination point in June. And these are mirroring energies I get, okay? So something came undone, unwound, started to move into its devolution cycle in June of this year. June of 2025, that comes to a culmination point that is a progression of energy. There's manifestation that comes through there. It moves into greater elevation, expansion, okay? but the harvest of that, or one could say the arrival at the stone of destiny, or the point of activation of the fruition of that seed of potential. You will see that when you reach October 2025. Life path 2, life path 6, life path 3, life path 4, all coming in here quite significantly. Life path 10, which is 1, okay? Very, very interesting here. Those signs could be significant as well. You could be one of those signs. You may already be tapped into this energy if you're one of the signs that I mentioned there. With October, we would have both Libras born in October, and we would have Scorpios born in October coming in there, okay? So very interesting energy with that. Let's get some letters and some messages here. Let's see what wants to come through. The first word I saw was most, and it made me think of Most High. Most High. The Most High wants to come on through. Even though I don't have the letters for high, I saw most, and that's immediately what came through for me. Most High. There's also a lot that's like a way through, a waterway through, that's coming through, like merging of spiritual perspectives of how to connect with the Most High. And I think of Most High, and I think of that ether, air quality, right? But there's points where they truly are still one energy, just seen through different windows in the grid. And I know that's something I'm saying that can be quite controversial to people, but if it is truly one energy, there's something about a need for an expansion in consciousness that can help us really master that knot as well, to have it be something that can be a connecting point that's evolutionary instead of something that's polarizing, divisory, and keeps us fixed, okay? Yes, because I got this energy coming in here about, think of it this way, okay? I got this energy coming in of Moses, I have to say, okay? And it makes me think of Moses, right? And all of the things that Moses was bringing forward to help people believe that there was greater, right? Greater creativity at hand, right? Greater power at hand to inspire faith in people, to dream a greater dream, to not feel oppressed, but to be liberated. I mean, what did he say? Let my people go, right? That's one thing he said. And see, right now it's kind of funny because I can't make the word faith because the H is missing here, right? That may be a clue for somebody, but I have fate spelled as you would faith, okay? So we can view it as fate, or we can have faith that there's an ability to have a loftier view of what lies ahead rather than sort of just buying into the narrative. But we have to understand that anytime we're receiving messages about a new way forward, and those messages, they can come through us. I mean, you may have a message to deliver that you feel like, well, I've seen a particular burning bush, or I have a torch to bear. I have something to share. And you may be able to give evidence of the miraculous, right? But there are people that will not believe. There are people that will not believe out of fear. because it doesn't fit within the narrow framework of their narrative or sort of their view, right? This is the way that there's differences between spirituality and religion. Spiritual is something that nobody has a corner on. It's not a box. It's an energy that's very free, and that energy is constantly evolving, and it's something we all have access to. But religion is a box, remember? And there was something coming through here about that, the unification point, the song of unity, which is one resounding note. It is the full potential of the or and more actually being activated by the collective. That is something that's one great energy. It's not something you can put in a box. It can't be compartmentalized until we can get beyond the dividing line that allows us to believe in a sort of like a dark force that can swipe that destiny from us. We call it fate, and it's simply because we haven't made the unconscious conscious yet. The tyranny is not in overthrowing the unconscious. It's what really wants to come through here. There is opportunity for the dawning of a new day here. And in fact, the dawning of the day is found in the night. Again, spelt a different way, N-I-T-E, without the G, without the H, okay? If you get too rigid with things and say, well, no, it can only be expressed in this way, then you're really limiting the potential of this energy. It's like you're putting yourself in jail. You are like that writer coming in, speaking of battles lost. You will always be at war. You put yourself in jail. But see, the jail is only in your mind. And I say that because I don't have L's to make jail, but I do have all the other letters, which is Jai, and that means victory, you see? And that's the way we opened up. The seed is found in the loss of the battle. It brings the victory. What's the opposite of what's the opposite of lore? No, lore is what you weave yourself. It's your creative energy in action. It's the development of your character development. I didn't mean to say that, but it came in like that. Well, the opposite of lore would be propaganda. It'd be programming. It'd be psyops, right? Okay, so we have to recognize that that is the lie. That is the trickster. That's what we need to devolve, unravel, unwind, okay? So we can create a new way forward. That's bringing the Most High down to earth. It's funny. It's like home, right? Is found in Om. You need Om to find your way home. Om is very much, it's like a seed. It's the same thing. It's a seed of the or and more. It's that energy of that one note of ecstasy. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, look at this. Om, right? Turn it on its side. It says us. Oh, wow. You see what I mean? That's magical. That's magical right there. It's so magical. A little gift that just came through for us. A little gift that just came through for us from the Fae, okay? To light the way forward. Okay. Interesting. They just said, right, because lie came in, they just said, I ain't lying. Lion, like the cowardly lion, only the N is missing, but only if you're not looking at it the right way, see? Because we have everything to make lion here, but the N, right? Or so it seems. But that's just because you've had sort of like your reception to your inner voice shut off, and you're about to flip the switch and you're going to get that N, right? That N that's on the other side of the O to turn it on through listening. I like this. I like this energy a lot, I have to say. I like this energy a lot. A lot. Yeah, and again, I got lot coming in, and I brought that story in a lot. And I have to say, you know, I talk from the lens of all different types of spiritual perspectives, because I understand that there's something to be learned in the exploration of all viewpoints, because it's all one energy. So how do you expect to be able to unravel a knot if you're only willing to look at a particular problem from one angle, okay? Or one viewpoint, right? This is a key for the type of communication that's needed at this time too. All right, this is what I got. So let me go ahead and bring in some names too for the collective. Let's see what we got coming in here. Sometimes, you know, names want to come through, or maybe places will want to come through. It can be confirmational for people. All right. I'm not going to list off all of the different letters separately because it's just too much. So hopefully you're paying attention here a little bit. I will start with letters where I'm seeing multiples of them, so I can bring in what I can around them. Let's see. So we got a couple S's here. So let's see. Yeah. Let's see. Oh, okay. Wow. Okay, I have Santana. So obviously there's Carlos Santana. So Carlos could be a name. I got Santa. I got Santa coming in too, I have to say. So Nick could be a name coming in. Nicholas, all right. We got Santa too. Santa baby, hurry down the chimney tonight. All right. Somebody really loves Santa, okay? They love that mythos. It's a great energy to tap into, especially when you look at the roots. There's so much to be learned. Okay. All right, let's see. I got the name Sam, which makes me also think of Samantha. And let's see. We also got the name Sandy or Sandra. I got the name Lana. Anita. Aya. Some of you may be reaching higher ground with Aya as well. Some of you may be psychonauts. You may be doing a little exploration on that level. I say that as well because I also have Soma out here. Okay. Imbibing a bit of that nectar of life. Okay. It keeps coming in, and I don't know why it keeps coming in. So it must be something that is meant for someone in the collective here. But I keep getting most deaf coming in here. Keep hearing it, most deaf. Okay. So I don't know if that's specifically for most deaf, if there's something that'll come through during this cycle in relation to him or his music, or there's some connecting point, okay, or somebody really resonates with that person's music. I got Nene with that, okay, interesting. Let's see here. It's interesting, I'm getting some musicians coming in here. I have Sade. I also got the name Sadie. I have the name Tony coming in, okay. I have the name Tanya as well. I got Oya coming out. So I know there's going to be a lot of change, right? But the change, it happens first, right? In the ether, the air, you know, it may bring a storm. The storm is a wake-up call. That's what I got, okay? Planetary wake-up call is what I'm hearing in relation to that, okay? So maybe there's some storm that's going to come in as well. Some storm that is a planetary wake-up call in how we're treating the planet, how we're affecting the planet, the imprint we're leaving on the planet. That's coming through. I also got ET coming in here, so expect more extraterrestrial kind of activity. That's only going to be ramping up. It's actually not something new. I know everybody's talking about this like drone energy. I've been seeing this stuff for a couple of years now. Okay, it's been out there. You know, when you walk late at night, you see a lot of stuff that most of the day walkers never see. Okay, so yeah, I haven't really shared a lot about it. I don't know if I will, to be honest with you. I don't know if that's my particular message to share. There's also that too. This piece coming in, that's very interesting for that to come in. That just because you receive certain information or certain downloads, not all is your message to share. Just because you have access to certain knowledge, sometimes that's not your message to share. That's not your piece of the puzzle that you're meant to hold. It's not your contribution to the collective energy. So know when to just sort of like take something in, know when to listen, know when to observe, to be the observer. And know when it is time to share as well. but I do see an increase in that activity. There's a lot more that's about to be revealed there. It might bring like a media storm as well. I could see that. Okay. Also, do remember, the piece about how certain things can be used as a way to sort of stir up hysteria, to stir up fear, to, kind of bring these energies in. If it's all one energy, maybe take it really into the ether there. If everything in creation is all one energy, then why do we automatically have to move to this position of having a fear response to what we don't yet understand? Okay, just flow with the energy. You might get a different perspective coming in there. Okay, we got the name Jay coming in. I also heard Jaylene came in. All right. With that, really strongly. Even though I don't have an end, I heard it, Jaylene. A lot's coming in with songs attached to it. Oh yeah, you might need an EMT. It's an emergency situation. In relation to that, okay, interesting. Let's see. I got the name D, okay. Also Deirdre, abbreviation of Deirdre. I don't know why I got D money, okay. That might mean something to somebody. I don't know of any D money, but it's out here and I was drawn to it, so. I got the name Otis. Sitting on the dock of the bay, watching the tide roll away. Sitting on the dock of the bay, wasting time. Is it really wasting time? It's not wasting time. There's value in sitting on the dock of the bay. Yes, by all means, reflect on the horizon, okay? That's what I got. All right. I'm going to tune on out of this so I can tune on in to my soul's voice and get some messages here. Mom coming through. Okay, so some of you really need to connect with your mom. This coming in. Mom wants you to connect with her. Okay? Yeah. Mom wants you to connect with her. I just heard it, so I'm going to bring it in. Sydney could be a connection with that. Mom wants you to talk to her. Okay? Because I heard to sir with love. It made me think of Sydney Portier. So there could be, some kind of connection there. All right, in relation to that. Also, that movie coming in, there might be a message there as well. Might be a message coming in there. Okay, I'm off. I hope you have a beautiful evening. Beyond the evening. I hope you encounter the most magical hour of all as we edge up to that full moon. Would be a wonderful night for a moon dance, would be a wonderful night for moon gazing, okay? Take in that lunar essence. It is your ally. It will help you align. And this is a ... moment to be continued. A lot more energy coming in. I can feel like there's going to be a lot more energy picking up, coming through here. So yes, be prepared. You're about to get your oars so you can roar. So you can roar. You're about to get your oars so you can row your boat ashore is what I meant to say, okay? Well, maybe you might need to roar a bit too, okay? Well, first you might need the courage. That's true. With that lion energy, you might need to roar, but you'll
You'll find your courage after you get a different perspective here.
All right. Have a beautiful, magical night.